Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fabulous Friday Ramblings, where we discuss various pop culture things that I enjoy and that I'm sure a lot of other people enjoy, because it's all about putting a little more positivity onto the internet. What can I say? I like saluting creativity that is extremely well done. With that in mind, we're going to discuss today one of the all-time icons of the manga industry. Now, specifically, it's going to be a rundown of his published manga. We are not going to do an epic, every single thing on his resume issue, simply because he's done so much work and continues to. We're going to focus on the mangas for a very specific reason. Because, folks, in case you didn't guess, or spoilers, look at the title and think about it too much, we're going to discuss Akira Toriyama. Now, the reason we're going to discuss his various manga works is because when you say his name, people immediately think Dragon Ball. And there's a reason why. It is one of the most famous manga of all time. It is published around the world. It has been a bestseller in every country it's been published in. It has set the standard for pretty much every shonen genre series that has come after it. And I know a lot of people want to sit there and be like, oh, but look, I'm sorry, but it's a simple fact of it is you look at the current crop of newly established and up-and-coming manga writers. They're going to talk about how they read Dragon Ball growing up. You can look at the stuff they do in it and you can see that inspiration. Now, that's not saying Dragon Ball is inherently better than their stuff. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what saying it set the standard means. It means it introduced a lot of concepts and storytelling devices and story elements that served as such great story beats for serial storytelling in that genre that other people have taken that and built upon it. That's what the standard is. Standard is not saying it's the best. The standard is not saying you got to be better than this to be great. It's simply saying it's one of the all-time great examples. Like, if you want to explain what the shonen genre is to people, you say, well, go look at Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is a classic shonen genre series. And people are like, oh yeah, I know Dragon Ball. So it's kind of like, this mix of humor and action and good storytelling with lots of character development and people aging and growing up and building lives. Yeah, exactly. Oh, cool. That's shonen stuff. That's what I say when I say the standard. I'm not trying to rank any other works. We're not getting into that today. But, rewinding, back to the main topic at hand. Yeah, that's the point. Everybody knows Dragon Ball. I don't really feel like I need to explain Dragon Ball to you guys. Son Goku, Kamehameha. If you know what manga is, you most likely have seen clips online, if not full episodes, of Dragon Ball. Or Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT. I'm using Dragon Ball as a meta-franchise phrase, not that specific portion of that manga work. But yes, the Dragon Ball meta-franchise. So, I want to discuss everything else he's done in the manga community, real quick. Some of it I have read, and I've got little visual props to prove that. We'll get to that when their time comes. Some of it I have not, because it has not been commercially printed in America that I've been able to track down. And unfortunately, I do not read Japanese, so I do have to blah, 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 blah. Gotta find my words here. I do have to limit myself to stuff that has been translated into English. And while I have read scanlations by fans in the past, truth is, some of his stuff, it's been a little tricky even finding good scanlations, because unfortunately some people, when they do scanlate, they do tend to get in over their head, and their translations are not necessarily the best. Okay, real quick, for my audience that doesn't know scanlation because they're not deep into the manga community thing, scanlation refers to a process by which people take a given manga, scan the pages, and using their computers, change the dialogue's language from one to the other. Scan and translation. Scanlation. And yes, for those people that love their grammar and literary fancy pantsness, that means the term scanlation is a portmanteau. AKA, two words squished together to make one word. There's your higher education point for the day. Woo! We're all learning. And I apologize if I pronounced that word wrong. Again, it's one of those words I see in print way more than I hear. So sometimes I'm not always accurate in proper pronunciation. But anyway, let's get to the list. Alright. Akira Toriyama's published works started in 1978 with two one-shots referred to as Wonder Island and Wonder Island 2. These were, of course, in Weekly Shonen Jump, where the majority of Toriyama's work has been published. If I do not mention the magazine, assume it is Shonen Jump. Now, in 1979, he did two more one-shots called Today's Highlight Island and Tomato Girl Detective. Now, again, these stories have not been made easily available here in America. However, his next work, which was his first ongoing work, has been made available in America. In 1980, and lasting until 1984, Akira Toriyama brought 236 chapters, which would be, again, for people not super familiar with manga, a chapter would be for the Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. A chapter is what you would get in one weekly issue. So, basically his series spanned 236 weekly stories. And that is Dr. Slump! This is volume 1 of the recent Viz official translations. Let me get that side. There you go. Nice little spine there. There's our author's name du jour. Whoop, whoop. There we go. Yeah. Now, Dr. Slump is what is referred to as a gag manga. Now, gag manga means that it is done completely for comedy's sake. It is very silly. It is a lot of random humor. And it is generally all ages humor. At least by, the cultural standards of that country. That's the thing. Discussion for another time about what, countries consider acceptable content for different age groups. That's a really big, complicated issue. I may have to say that so I can drag some really intelligent people in with me, or at least do a lot more research. But yes, Dr. Slump ran for 5 years and was a huge hit. It has had multiple anime adaptations. Our lead character here, I'm going to throw this up one more time, is Arale. She is an android. And as I said, she basically lives in a town full of silliness and goes through a bunch of wacky misadventures with her friends and family. It is a brilliant series. The entire series has been published by Viz here in America relatively recently, so it's easy to find online if you want it in print format. I'm about, let me see, I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. So I can't say I've read the entire series, but I have read, as I said, about 2/3 of it, and that is an excellent series. It is, it is silly, it is comedic, but it does have, as I said before, that core element of there are times where there is a general sense of continuity, characters are introduced, characters age, characters get married, have children, so there is a sense of the passage of time, even though the individual chapters tend to feel, to put it in an American Icon sense, very Looney Tunes. And again, I mean that in the best sense. It's a great series. I would recommend it for anybody who wants to read something lighthearted. But, as I said, Dr. Slump is there. The character has made a couple crossover appearances, including in a early chapter of the Dragon Ball manga. It's appeared in a couple of the Dragon Ball video games because of that. So, yeah, this was pretty much the series where Toriyama firmly established himself as somebody to watch and keep an eye on. Now, next up we have a few more one-shots. I'm going to list these kind of quick because, again, these are not ones that have been made readily available here in America. 1981, we had Pola and Royd, as well as Escape. 1982 gave us Mad Matic and Pink as two more one-shots. 1983 we had two one-shots under the Chobit series. Now, again, Chobit as opposed to Chobits, which is by the manga group Clamp and is a completely different series. So try to keep that in mind. We had a one-volume series from 1982 to 1984 called Hitape Manga Kenkyujo. This is a little different from a one-shot because whereas a one-shot is exactly what it sounds like, a one Tankopon release is basically one of these books. One shot would be like one chapter. Tankobon is usually like 8-9 chapters, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, this one has 12 chapters. Again, it just depends on the length of the individual chapters. But yeah, so Hitabe there was more like a mini-series type project. We also had 1983 Dragon Boy, which was 2 one-shots and one shot of the adventure of Tongpu. Now, most of these were collected in a single tankobon volume called Akira Toriyama's Manga Theater Volume 1. It is specifically Volume 1 because, as we're going to get going through it, he did make more one-shots that were compiled into subsequent volumes of the Manga Theater. However, in 1984, we get to the iconic Dragon Ball. As I said, we're not going to focus too much on Dragon Ball because everybody knows Dragon Ball, and frankly, I could do multiple episodes just on Dragon Ball. But we're just gonna say real quick. It ran from 1984 to 1995. 519 chapters, plus one extra bonus chapter. Collecting into 42 tankobon volumes. And as I said, it's one of the most famous manga ever printed. Is an international bestseller. At this point, Toriyama became an icon. Firmly. Like, as I said, it's, you know, you write something like this, then, yeah, nobody's ever going to forget you. So, however, while he was doing this, he did continue to produce some other one-shots. So, we're going to rattle those off real quick. Mr. Ho in 86. Lady Red in 87. Kenosuke-sama in 87. Sancho in 87. Mamajiro in 88. The Volume 2 release of Manga Theater in 88. Clear Skies Karamaru in 89. Rocky in 89. Wolf in 90. From 90 to 91, there were 3 one-shots released sporadically for Cashman Saving Soldier. Dubbin Peter 1 composed 4 one-shots from 92 to 93. Go-Go Ackman was 11 one-shots from 93 to 94. These last 3 were produced in V-Jump as opposed to Shonen Jump. So, post-Dragon Ball, we had 2 chapters of Alien X Peak in 1996, Toki Mecha in 96-97, Booble and the Majin Village in 1997, third volume of Akira Toriyama's Manga Theater in 97, followed by, oh, what's this? Something else that has gotten released in America that we have. A single tankobon, aka miniseries, Kawa! Kawa, like Dr. Slump, is a lighthearted, more all ages story than the iconic Dragon Ball. It is about a village of monsters where the monster flu causes most of the village to get sick, and a couple friends, along with a human that lives on the outskirts of town. Excuse me, I have Sneezy Kitty in the background. Go searching for the witch who has the cure for the monster flu. Again, it is a good read for people that like more lighthearted stuff, which, you know, as great as Dragon Ball was, the lighthearted stuff is definitely Akira Toriyama's strongest writing style. He is somebody who is very good at comedy. Even Dragon Ball itself has a lot of comedy slid underneath all the big crazy action sequences and dramatic scary villains. Kawa! So in 1998, we got a 12-chapter miniseries of Kaijika. 1999 gave us Mahi Mahi the Lungfish. Neko Majin from 1995-2005 was a series of 3 one-shots in Weekly Shonen Jump and 5 one-shots in Monthly Shonen Jump. So, as I said, it was kind of a really sporadically spread out miniseries. 2000, we have a one-shot drawn entirely on a computer for E-Jump, a special edition of Weekly Shonen Jump focusing on electronics called Hyotamu. Also in 2000, we got, oh, what's this? Something else I can show off. Sandland. Lovely little miniseries. Sandland. Single volume. Fun times. Now, Sandland, a little more serious than Kawa. It is about a demon prince and his underling working with a human sheriff with a shady past to search for a mythical lake in a country ravaged by drought. And when I say ravaged, I mean most of the country is a desert, hence the term Sandland. So that everybody can be saved, because when your nice fertile country has been turned into a desert, even the demons start suffering. So, as I said, Sandland is closer to Dragon Ball, especially the later Z era, in that there is a serious story. There is talk of death and suffering and murder. There are some good action sequences. But being a defined miniseries, it also runs at a much more rapid pace than most of the Dragon Ball series, which was written as an ongoing long-term serial. So, yeah, if you definitely like Dragon Ball, I would highly recommend Sandland. It's a nice single-volume read, so you can get through it in an afternoon. It's all good times. 2006, we got Gojira Nameku Se Dragon Gonmei Hashatsujo. This is the police station for the Dragon Park on planet Namek. It was a crossover between Dragon Ball and Kochira Katsushika Ku Kameyare Goenmei Hashutsujo, which is a manga by Osamu Akimoto for the 30th anniversary of Kochikame. Kochikame, which is the shorthand of everything I just read right there, is a Japanese comedy manga series that takes place in present day in and around a neighborhood police station in the downtown part of Tokyo, and revolves around the misadventures of middle-aged cop Kankichi Ryotsu. This series is actually ran from 1976 until 2016, 200 volumes, and has a Guinness World Record for most volumes published for a single manga series. So, yeah, folks, you want to sit there and brag about the length of some of your stuff? Sorry, right now Kochikama is still in the lead. I'm not saying he's going to get there forever. I'm sure somebody will eventually eclipse it, but yeah, that's the record you want to chase if you want to be the longest running manga. So after that, we got a one-shot also in 2006 called Cross Epoch, which was a Dragon Ball and One Piece crossover co-authored with Ichiro Oda. We got a one-shot spin-off of Dr. Slump called Dr. Masharito Abale-chan in 2007. In 2008, we got the one-shot Sachi-chan Good. 2009 gave us Delicious Islands, Mr. U. 3 chapters of Jiya in Weekly Young Jump. Kintoki in 2010, which is a one-shot. And here we go, the final 2. In 2013, 11 chapters of Jocko, the Galactic Patrolman. Now, Jocko's an interesting one because it's similar to the Sandland style of writing. Woo, Jocko! In that there is a serious story being told. It doesn't have quite as much action as some of his other stuff, but for people that are used to more of his Dragon Ball style writing as opposed to his completely comedic manga style writing like you would get in Slump and Kawa, Jocko is a good read. Now, I'm going to go ahead and admit, because I know some people who have already heard of Jocko are starting to say, hey now. Okay. A little bit of spoilers. I generally do not give plot spoilers because I encourage people to go out and read stuff. I'm going to give you plot spoilers because it does factor into some things. I don't know, people that know their Toriyama and that know Jocko are going to want to add this in. So yeah, I'm going to beat you to it. Although it is not clear until the final chapter of Jocko, the Galactic Patrolman, it is in fact a spin-off of the Dragon Ball manga. It takes place in the same universe, serves as a prequel to Dragon Ball, as the final chapter takes place on the same day that Son Goku lands on Earth as a baby. Jocko himself would show up in Toriyama's next manga, which is the official sequel to the Dragon Ball manga, Dragon Ball Super, which started in 2015 and is currently running until the present. It is serialized in V-Jump. So far has been collected into 9 Tankobon volumes, which again is basically these things. So far we have 9 volumes of Dragon Ball Super, but it is ongoing, so we don't know how long it's going to go when it's all said and done. So, which is a great way for us to bring this video full circle, as Kitty's making noise again. But as I started out with saying, Toriyama is most iconically known for Dragon Ball, and in the last 6 years, he has returned to the Dragon Ball continuity full force. Initially with a nice little one-shot, woo, that kind of snuck in its Dragon Ball connections at the end there, leading into a new ongoing spin-off sequel series of Dragon Ball Super. So, what is our big takeaway from this? Our big takeaway from this is very simple. Akira Toriyama is an excellent writer. He has been writing since, again, woohoo, we're going to do some quick math here, blah, blah, blah. 1978 was when his first official published work was, although he was submitting in 1977. But if we count from the first official published work, 1978 until 2020. Now that means that is 42 years. 42 years he has been producing work, and this, again, we are only discussing his manga work. We are not even getting into, I'm probably going to have to make a sequel video to discuss all this, the artwork he has done for video games spanning decades. So, the man has been very, very busy. He has also helped contribute to various anime, including those based off his work, art books, as well as various other projects of a creative artistic measure for the fun of it, including, you know, music album covers, movie poster covers. But yes, the man was born, real quick, which is the only part of the biography I'm going to give you to, again, put this in perspective. Akira Toriyama was born in 1955. So again, let's do some quick math. That is 40, 60. He is, as of April 5th, so in a couple months, he will be, hold on, blah, 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 65 years old. Alright. Now I want you to think about that. He is 65 years old, and he has been producing manga for 42 of those years. More than half his life, he has been producing manga, video game character art, helping with anime adaptations, doing, you know, poster work, music album covers. Just artistically, he has never stopped for longer than I have been alive. And he's still going. That's the whole point. We don't know how long he's going to work when it's all said and done. But even when he has not worked on major ongoing series, he has done one-shots. He has worked on video games. He's worked on, working with his friends, doing cover art for them. And that's the takeaway of this whole video. That is the takeaway. That is what I want everybody to understand. One of the reasons why I will always give anything I see that says story and art by Akira Toriyama a chance is because I have so much respect for a man that has so many ideas in his head and so consistently works at bringing those ideas to life and has done it on a highly successful level for so many years. You can say his stuff isn't your style, and that's fine. You have a right to that viewpoint. You can say, well, I like his big ongoing stuff because of the way he paces his stories, but I find like his one-shots and his, single volume minis to just, they just don't have enough space to, tell the full story and really get in deep to the stuff I like to see developed and grow. And again, that's fine. You have perfectly valid opinion. I'm happy that you have it because it means you're thinking about his work and you're giving it a fair chance. But even if you're not a fan of Akira Toriyama, you have to respect the longevity and the variety. He didn't just early on find a series and write that one thing the rest of his life, whether anybody liked it or not. He does stuff, he writes out his ideas till he feels he's told the story he wants to tell with it, and then he goes and does some other stuff. He may come back. As I said, some of those one-shots were actually series of one-shots spanning a few years. He may go back to an idea later on, as he did with Dragon Ball. But he has it all in his head. It's all there. It's ongoing. Most likely, Akira Toriyama is not going to stop until he is not physically capable. Whether that means flat out death or his body just, get so old and his joints get, just so bad from age that he can't move the pencil and the paintbrush or, whichever particular tool he's using right now. And I know that's really sad and a bummer, and I'm not trying to end this video on a sad note. But, that is what great creators do. They go at it until they physically cannot go at it anymore. Because this right here, to the truly great creators, this never stops flowing. And that's what I'm doing today. I am saluting Akira Toriyama because his ideas have never stopped flowing and they have been so varied. As I said, I'm very familiar with Dragon Ball. You've seen these various other series that I've got. He's written a lot of other stuff I haven't been able to get my hands on yet. But it's all good. Whether it's my thing or not, whether I'm going to love it or not, it's still good because he's putting his heart and soul into it. And for that, I salute you. So, come back next week. We're going to talk about somebody else. Or, I don't know. I may immediately do that follow-up about his video game work because his video game work has spanned a lot of games, including games that are considered some of the best of all time. How much does art have to do with it? Well, look, it's video games. It's a visual medium. The art is always going to be a major factor of it. So, I don't know. I'm going to flip a coin. Not literally, but, metaphorically, I'm going to flip a coin. And I'll see you next week. Because you're not going to know what we're going to talk about unless you come back next week. To make it easy, subscribe to this channel. There's a nice little subscribe button right under the video. If you're YouTube savvy, you know this by now. Leave comments. Leave likes. Tell everybody. Check out the Friday Ramblings. Because it's going to make you feel good. Because that's what I do. I talk about stuff that makes me feel good. Toriyama makes me feel good. See you in 7.